Man, it is going to be ugly. They're about to find out what happens to ratings when they lose the golden ticket.
News of Caitlin Clark's injury sent shockwaves through the WNBA. Fans are upset, especially those who paid top dollar and now won't see her in action. For the league's old guard, though, this is a nightmare. Just a few weeks without Caitlin exposes everything they've been trying to manage behind the scenes. And the fallout is already showing. The economic impact of her absence is staggering, with new reports highlighting just how critical she is to the league's success. The numbers are eye-popping, and we might be witnessing one of the biggest servings of humble pie in sports history. As for Caitlin, there are at least 2 silver linings to this injury that could set her up for even greater success when she returns. But first, let's break down the injury itself. She's dealing with a left quad strain, expected to sideline her for at least 2 weeks. What makes this especially surprising is that Caitlin has been remarkably durable throughout her career. She had played 185 consecutive regular season and playoff games, 139 with the Hawkeyes, 46 with the Fever before the setback. The 2-week timeline suggests a grade 1 strain, the best-case scenario for a full recovery. Either way, she's likely to miss at least 4 games, 2 against the Mystics, 1 against the Sun, and 1 against the Sky. The Sky matchup will be particularly interesting, as attendance at the 20,000-seat United Center could be affected without Caitlin on the court. Of course, her health comes first. But Fever fans are right to wonder about the team's outlook during her absence. Here's a dose of optimism to keep in mind.
Oh wow, this is not good. This is not good at all.
These next 4 games are still very much winnable for Indiana. This stretch isn't likely to derail the Fever season. In fact, it seems the team is making a smart, calculated decision by resting Caitlin early in the season, before the schedule intensifies. They're prioritizing her long-term health now, when the risk is manageable, rather than pushing her and potentially causing a bigger issue during higher-stakes games. The Fever took a similar approach with Sophie Cunningham, showing that protecting key players early can pay off later.
I do see these games against the Sun and against the Mystics and against the Sky as winnable games.
Even though Sophie Cunningham seemed perfectly fine and was practically dancing in the background, the Fever still kept her out.
Why?
Because the season is still young and the team prioritizes long-term health over short-term appearances. Given the Fever's big-picture approach, it's likely Caitlin will be out for longer than 4 games, probably around 3 weeks. This is their superstar, and with a veteran supporting cast ready to step up, the smartest move is to ensure she's fully recovered. That said, it's still a tough pill for fans to swallow.
Put me sit on the sideline and talk. That's about all
I'm ready to play. She's out over there and just, I'm going crazy.
Yes, she's going crazy. She makes every 24 hours. She seems to make great progress. So we'll just no. It's a long season, so we want to make sure that we're making the best long-term decisions.
Many had predicted Caitlin Clark would be one of the frontrunners for MVP this season, but missing 4 to 6 games will undoubtedly impact her chances. That said, Caitlin has consistently emphasized that winning is her top priority. So while this is disappointing for fans, it's a sacrifice she's likely comfortable making to ensure she's at full health when it really matters. Looking at the long-term outlook, this doesn't appear to be a serious injury, so she should be back without lasting issues.
Her bet for her to win MVP died. Yeah, being out. The mad thing is being out for 2 weeks basically means you can't win MVP in the WNBA. Like that is one of the shocking ones.
While reports indicate this isn't the same injury that slowed her during training camp, it's possible Caitlin, being the competitor she is, was playing through quad pain until it finally reached a point where rest was necessary. If she was putting up strong performances on an injured leg, just imagine what she'll do at full health. That's the first silver lining. She's likely to come back even stronger. In fact, she's already been seen practicing and shooting threes, which is a promising sign.
This is nowhere near the level of an ACL injury, so she can come back and still be like the explosive playmaker, the explosive three-point shooter, the explosive player that she is.
From all indications, this isn't a doomsday scenario for Caitlin Clark. It's just a speed bump. The second silver lining comes from looking at the bigger picture. Her injury highlights just how critical she is to the league and why the WNBA appears to be in full-blown panic mode.
I'm just going to say I feel terrible for those fans that spent so much money either home or away, to go see Caitlin Clark, because for those fans, this freaking sucks.
For the first time, the WNBA is about to experience life without Caitlin Clark, and it's not going to be pretty. She's almost certainly going to miss the June 7th game against the Sky. That matchup was moved from Wintrust Arena to the United Center, literally double the size, just to accommodate the massive demand for Fever games. Let's be real, this move wasn't about Indiana as a team. It was all about Caitlin.
I wonder how many fans are not going to show up. I reckon maybe 4,000 or 5,000 will show up. I reckon it'll be 2/3 full.
With Caitlin Clark sidelined, the big question is whether fans will still show up. Within hours of the news, ticket sales started dropping rapidly, showing just how much her presence drives attendance.
And I genuinely think we could be looking at not half full. It's not going to be half full. We could be looking at 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 spare seats. I wonder what price tickets are now.
Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42%, an average ticket price of $137, all the way down to $80. When it comes to the Chicago Sky game, that is the marquee matchup in the WNBA, and those tickets are crashing just as well. From $86 48 hours ago to $25.
Another key factor everyone will be watching closely is TV viewership. The first Fever Sky matchup drew 2.7 million viewers, an enormous number for the WNBA. These games have consistently been among the league's most watched. But without Caitlin in the lineup, those numbers could drop significantly, and fans are already speculating on just how much her absence will impact viewership.
Viewership down by 85%. See you guys in 2 weeks. Well, the WNBA viewership will be down for 2 weeks. Man, it is going to be ugly.
WNBA games without Caitlin often draw only a third of the viewership, or even less. For a league where some leaders and veteran players have acted like they're solely responsible for its growth, this will be a cold, hard reality check. Fans are about to vote with their wallets, their attention, and their remotes. And if you need proof, just look at what was announced right before the injury news hit.
Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA we knew was going to be big. We now have an idea of how big.
The same analyst who reported that Caitlin Clark accounted for 26.5% of the WNBA's total economic activity in 2024 just released a new 2025 update, and the numbers are staggering. They don't just confirm her importance, they blow it wide open. We're talking about one player whose presence is literally reshaping the WNBA's entire business model. Ryan Brewer, a valuation expert who closely tracks the league's growth, estimates that Caitlin Clark's value to the WNBA this year could exceed $1 billion, and that's likely a conservative figure.
If things just go as they were, I'm looking at $875 million, Brewer said to NBC News about Clark's potential monetary value for this season, for the 2025 season. Quote, and I could easily see that eclipsing $1 billion.
Let that sink in. One player potentially generating over $1 billion in economic impact. The analysis factors in everything: TV viewership, ticket sales, merchandise, sponsorships, social media engagement. And it all points to one clear conclusion. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's single biggest financial driver. Not just one of several contributors, the driver.
While Clark's popularity has aided the entire league, she's still one of one. As Media Sports Watch noted, 24 WNBA broadcasts garnered 1 million TV viewers. 21 of them included Caitlin Clark.
The reason is simple, and exactly why the WNBA is in full panic mode right now. They're about to get a small taste of life without Caitlin Clark. She's the crossover star the league has been chasing for decades, the one who draws in casual fans. And now the numbers back it up.
She particularly is the one who's driving a new kind of demographic that is reaching new kinds of people from the traditional WNBA fan base that is causing the growth rate and also accelerating interest in corporate sponsorships.
This situation is very similar to what happened with Tiger Woods in the 1990s. He arrived with unmatched athleticism, charisma, and dominance, completely transforming the sport. His historic 1997 Masters victory, not only as the first black golfer to win but by a record-breaking margin, drew massive global attention and ushered in a new era for golf. TV ratings soared, often doubling whenever Tiger was in contention. He wasn't just a star, he was the reason casual fans tuned in. Golf went from a niche sport to a global spectacle, and the money followed. PGA Tour prize money tripled in just a few years as sponsors and advertisers rushed to capitalize on the Tiger effect. Other golfers benefited too, not necessarily because they improved, but because Tiger made the sport matter. Now, Caitlin Clark is having the same transformative effect on the WNBA. Just look at the revenue impact from her exhibition game against Brazil. It's proof that she's elevating the league to a new level.
The average reported ticket price was $650. Now, if you do the math here and you do 15,000 people times $650, that is almost $9.75 million just for a WNBA preseason game.
And that's just one game. Now, reports are starting to emerge showing the massive impact Caitlin Clark has had on the Fever organization in just a single season, and the numbers are truly staggering.
All of this is good news for the Fever, which Sportico reported last year was worth $90 million. Brewer told the Star he believes the franchise is now worth $340 million.
She's managed to quadruple the value of an entire professional sports franchise in less than a year. And honestly, you have to wonder, why hasn't the Fever made her a part owner yet? When you add it all up, it's easy to see why the WNBA is in full panic mode. They're about to get a small, painful taste of what life looks like without Caitlin Clark. And, frankly, it's a long overdue reality check.
WNBA players weirdly have been fighting growth. Stop fighting the truth. Get out of your own way. It is a bad look. She is a fascinating player, and it must be exhausting hating new cool things.
Despite Caitlin Clark's massive positive impact on the WNBA and on every player's visibility and earning potential, the league has still resisted fully embracing her influence. There was a brief moment of hope, though, when some of the biggest legends in the game began speaking out in her support, acknowledging what she means not just to the Fever, but to the league as a whole.
Have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games?
One word to describe Caitlin Clark.
Amazing.
Yes.
A beast. She is the truth. She's the truth, and she was a rookie.
The skeptics and critics still haven't fully come to terms with Caitlin Clark's rise and massive popularity. Some are holding on to the notion that they were the driving force behind the league's growth, trying to rewrite the narrative. Even NFA Collier openly expressed frustration over Caitlin receiving more nationally televised games.
Obviously, Indiana, especially like with their free agents, they're gonna be a great team. But to not have the defending champs on TV more, I think it's kind of crazy.
To make matters worse, some media outlets continue to criticize her fan base. There's still a tired narrative suggesting that Indianapolis is somehow unsafe, blaming her fans for being toxic or disruptive. It sometimes seems like certain players and media voices would rather see the league struggle without her than succeed alongside her.
There are literally players in the league that would rather burn down the league than have it succeed with Caitlin Clark in the league. They would rather burn it down, and that is you know that's the case. You know it's the case. I don't even have to say which players. You know that's the case.
Now, the league is about to face a hard truth. All the leverage they think they have is meaningless without Caitlin Clark. Sure, it's just a small sample, she'll be out a couple of weeks, but sometimes that's enough for the cracks to appear. The league still needs a wake-up call. And for Caitlin and her fans, it would be well-deserved vindication. Not that they should need it at this point. The evidence of her impact is already overwhelming, yet some still fail to see it. Perhaps the league needs to feel the dip. watch the numbers drop, see empty seats, and witness declining ratings. And maybe, just maybe, they'll finally address the officiating while they're at it, because it's been one-sided for too long, and fans are done pretending otherwise.
A year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
When a coach is compelled to speak out like that, you know things have gone too far. On a larger scale, if this continues, it doesn't just impact Caitlin, it puts the entire league at risk. And perhaps, in some ways, it already has.
But I will just say the lopsided officiating was absolutely insane.
It was one of the worst rugby games I've seen.
A serious injury to Caitlin Clark could derail all the progress the WNBA has made. Everything from the momentum and new fans to sponsorship deals and the growth that players have been advocating for.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable.
And that brings us to the situation today. We now have a clear picture of just how valuable Caitlin Clark is, and she's out. Soon, we'll see the true extent of her impact. Maybe, finally, it will be enough to get the referees, the WNBA leadership, and even some players to take notice. Without Caitlin, the league risks losing mainstream attention. The buzz fades, revenue slows, and momentum stalls. This might be the wake-up call the league didn't want, but desperately needed. And the ultimate silver lining for Caitlin? She's about to become even more relevant, more influential, and hopefully better protected. If you've stuck with this analysis, drop a GOAT in the comments. You've earned it.
See you next time.